Colonel Gaddafi's death brings an end to 42 years of dictatorship in Libya. After seizing control of the country through a military coup in 1969, he set about stamping out internal dissent and sharing out the power and the wealth of the country among his family and followers. Our foreign affairs correspondent Jonathan Miller looks back now on his often brutal reign, and again his report does contain scenes which may be distressing.
The Arab world's longest-serving leader began as a Nasserist and 4 decades on ended up a vainglorious narcissist. Colonel Muammar Gaddafi, brother leader, dawn of freedom, falcon of Africa, king of kings and supreme guide to the great socialist people's Libyan Arab Jamahiriya, had no formal title. But Libya's Botoxed Bedouin warlord did have a wardrobe. Fur and leather, silk and gold braid. Dictator chic that cut quite a dash on the pages of Vanity Fair and Paris Match, as did his bevy of gun-toting femme fatale bodyguards, fatigues, kung fu and high heels. But dictator he was. Gaddafi squandered his nation's oil wealth, oppressed his people, sponsored terror worldwide.
I think we will soon forget about the strange outfits and the foibles, and he will go down as one of the most brutal, vicious killers that the world has seen.
We saw Gaddafi the tyrant in action as his army closed in on the Benghazi rebels, and he vowed to fight to the last drop of blood. Get out of your homes and attack the rats in their dens, he shouted. They will be hunted down alleyway by alleyway. NATO stopped that. Just. The son of a goat herd from Sirte emerged as a charismatic young soldier who with fellow officers overthrew King Idris Senussi in 1969.
His aides maintain that he detests the personality cult.
He portrayed himself as a modernist, clearing slums and supporting the downtrodden. His vision articulated in his infamous Green Book, where he set out his blueprint for what he called direct democracy. But it was a sham. Those who challenged his vision were purged, even massacred. 1,200 prisoners in Libya's Abu Salim jail were gunned down in 1996. Such brutality seen right to the end, fueling the rebellion that eventually led to his downfall.
He can come out as very suave, very nice, and talking about Arab unity and Arab. But on the other hand, he could be extremely cruel and extremely vicious.
Colonel Gaddafi had a pathological hatred of the West, his henchmen acting with impunity. April 1984, and WPC Yvonne Fletcher is shot dead by a gunman from inside the Libyan People's Bureau in London. By then, the regime was busy exporting terror worldwide, from the IRA to terrorist groups in Peru and the Philippines. When Libyan agents blew up a bar in Berlin, the colonel was cast as the devil incarnate, the bin Laden of his day.
This mad dog of the Middle East has a goal of a world revolution.
US air raids followed, targeting Benghazi and Tripoli. Christmas, 2 years later, and Pan Am Jumbo Flight 103 explodes over Lockerbie, Scotland. Western intelligence blamed the Gaddafi regime. A decade and a half of isolation and sanctions ensued. Finally, Colonel Gaddafi ordered that Libya's oil money be used to buy its way back into the fold. And the West, well, it came running. Tony Blair made his trip to the Bedouin tent in the desert to welcome Muammar Gaddafi back in from the cold. He gave up his WMD and he gave the West what it wanted: oil and gas. When the regime fell, Gaddafi's secret intelligence files revealed he'd been a willing partner in the West's war on terror, facilitating the rendition and torture of Islamist militant suspects. At home, his detractors were branded terrorists too. Even after Tripoli fell, the spectre of his possible return haunted Libya. As rebels closed in on the remaining strongholds, his last audio message on Syrian TV warning that Libya could never be changed. As he's aged, Muammar Gaddafi's style and his rhetoric have looked more and more anachronistic. His a theatre of the absurd, punctuated by violent acts from a dangerously eccentric showman, a murderous clown.